everybody, and welcome to today's stream, where we are going to discuss how to add spice to your papers and make reviewers like it. And this is a little bit of a follow-up of one of the very early videos that I did on the channel, which is about what can we learn from tabloids. And basically, the TLDR for that video is add spice. So, what do I mean by spice? It's a little bit of scandal, a little bit of hot takes, and that people always really enjoy reading that. And what I want to do with you today is to tell you 2 ways of adding spice to your papers, knowing that at this moment of publication history, it's it's not super easy. It's journals are a little bit more restrictive in what they let in and so on. Okay, so I want to show you my 2 techniques and give you 2 examples. The first is basically citing spicy papers. And how do you find spicy papers? There are 2 ways. You look for pieces by very senior scholars. So let me just, and I apologize. Language. Sorry, I should have done this before the video. Okay. Anyway, forget it. I cannot find it. But anyway, no matter. I have a pretty good example here. Right? So you want to look at opinion and essay pieces from well-known people in the field. Org Studies is a really good resource for this. There's they publish something called essays where people can let their hair down a little bit, relax a little bit, and do a little bit of hot takes that you can then cite verbatim in your paper, or you go real back and look at stuff published I'd say up to the 80s. People had a little bit more leeway in what they could write. So those are the 2 ways. So if you want for recent stuff, look at essays. Org Studies, for example, has essays. Actually, as we are on the topic, there's a really good essay by Jennifer Howard Greenville on the latest Org Studies. So we're in March 2021. Latest Org Studies has a real cool essay from her on qualitative data. So do look that up if you have time. But essays have hot takes, or very famous people in the field, sometimes even in traditional papers, have hot takes that you can cite, and all papers, so up to the 80s, have hot takes. So I want to read from you a paper that I read for the high-risk revision that I'm working on now, from 1979, that then I hope I can cite this in the paper. I hope I have the room and that it makes sense. Okay, so I'll just going to read you from this, and to show you how much of a hot take you can have on a piece. And I quote: "The failure of the management information systems idea to achieve its ultimate goal of informing managers rests in the single wrong assumption that the manager can define their information needs prior to decision making. If the assumption were true, management could be implemented by automata. Because it is not true, conventional MIS maxim is to produce hackneyed status reports based upon technocrats' perceptions of what the managers needs. Its minimum capability is coughing up answers to irrelevant unasked questions. The spectrum from impotence to mediocrity cannot be usefully extended to meet management's needs because the design strategy is wrong." Now, tell me this is not the hottest hot take that you have ever read. And my friends, MIS Quarterly, my dudes. So that's so. I mean, definitely, if I could put this on the introduction, just like as a juicy morsel for reviewers and readers, after readers to take, like a paper that puts this down on the introduction, it's for sure a paper worth reading. So it's good to have this, like collection of tidbits. For to use in papers. I mean, this is just like so beautiful. Can you imagine like reading a paper that like says this? I mean, it's really making a promise of being something cool to read. So that's the first one. Like here's a hot take, but I didn't write this. F. Parker Fowler, 1979, page 21. Enjoy. Right. So that's the first. The second, obviously, and this is the huge advantage of qualitative data, is your data. And this is a little bit of what I said in the previous video, but I think I have like this super cool example to share with you, which is make sure, obviously you don't want to like your entire paper to read like a tabloid, but make sure you have like a spicy quote here and there. So I just want to read you this quote, which says, this person is talking about Siebel, which is a CRM system they use, and he says, well, if you don't do anything, you don't fill the appropriate box, you got a Siebel sin. You lose points, you upset your team, you don't get incentives. Siebel tells you to hand things over to somebody else. Siebel is like the invisible voice, and our sales managers are the little monkeys around the organ grinder. Siebel is the organ grinder, and our sales managers are the monkeys. It's the only way I can describe how our sales managers work. Now, this is beautiful. Is it the most illustrative quote as that it describes a process? Maybe not, but it just creates an image in the mind of the reader that is, that just sets them up for the analysis and for the rest of the paper. So, long story short, what is today's tip? Today's tip is make sure to include spicy hot takes on your paper. People want to read this. People are going to read this. You want them to read it. We are writers. And so it is part of our role as writers to provide, the occasional morsel for readers, for them to enjoy, right? It is about learning, it is about teaching, but it is also for them to enjoy. And sometimes, this may not be descriptive, but it's eloquent. And the quote from Fowler is also very eloquent, right? So this is not just entertainment. It's a framing move that really, creates a very vivid image in the mind of your readers. Now, what I have argued is that it is very difficult now to write these hot takes, and I suggested places you can find them. Your data, if you're doing qualitative research, or published work. Published work, the best for current published work are essays by senior academics, where they have a little bit of more freedom to express their views, or older papers where journals allowed a little bit more of editorial freedom. Okay, so that's a quick tip. It's a small tip, but it's really important. And also, what it also matters because it makes writing more fun for you as well. When you write this down, it's more fun. I really had a great time reading both the quote from the paper and this. I even shared it with a couple of friends. So all advantages. So make sure that you find and get this. And if you have some fun ones, share them with me on Twitter. I'd love to see them. So anyways, that's it for today. I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a great time. Bye.